What's going on, gentlemen of the Alf? It's the commish, Olive Juice 88, coming at you from where it all started for most of us this year in the basement, the draft pad, draft central, if you will. Coming to you, got the week three recap. Gonna make it quick because I do got to get out the door for work here soon. Um, so let's start off with the games. We got myself, the Jotunheim Frost Giants, whooping up on the Muspelheim Fire Giants by 55 points. Really, not much to say there. It wasn't very close, and Pop slides to 0-3. We'll see if he can come up on his first victory this week, maybe, hopefully. So yeah, there it is. He talked about changing up his receivers. It looks like he made a couple of moves. Switched up his lineup a little bit, and we'll see if that pays off for him. Good luck, pops. All right, and then we got Matt Murphy beating Brad Wilhite. I thought that game was going to turn out awfully close, and it did. 7 points. You had Lamar Jackson go off again. He was top candidate for fantasy MVP for the Alf this week, but I decided to go on in a sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit. Decided to go on in a different direction with fantasy MVP because I want to pick the guy that is most valuable to his team. If it wasn't for that guy doing what he did, um, does your team win? Granted, it was only 7 points, but Lamar could have still had a great. I mean, Lamar's just Lamar. Like, I mean, he's trying to get that bag this year. So, um, and for all you old fellas out there, bag means money. He's trying to get paid. So, all right, now on to third matchup of the week. We got Minister Mel and the Thunder Gods taking on Hosscat, Brian Carden, and his Draugr army, and he must have only sent out the war cry to about half the team because he got beat by about 65 points. So I believe that puts him at 2-1 because that was the battle of the undefeateds this week, and Melvin comes out on top. Thanks, Brad, for basically giving Derrick Henry to him for a turkey sandwich. I hope it was delicious. And yeah, I mean, that's all I really got to say about that. Then we're going to move on to Eric Bray and the Valhalla Ballos against Josh Russell, our newest member. Fitting in nicely. This game right here saw another potential week 3 MVP in Saquon Barkley because, Saquon rips off another 20-yard touchdown run in that game. Russell wins that matchup, and which would be surprising. Like if he was sitting there at 2-1 with a roster that a lot of people said they didn't want to take because it looked terrible. Yeah, I mean, I think a few of us would be kind of surprised. I mean, I wouldn't. I thought the team, the roster had potential, but it's just, I mean, a lot of people that I tried to get to take it was like, nah, that roster looks like trash, and ended up turning it down. So thanks to you, Mr. Russell, for taking over that and being competitive. Man, I like it. I like it. All right, and then in our final matchup, this is the game where our fantasy MVP will be coming from, as CeeDee Lamb, after reaching out for comment to my brother, the leader of Team Lethal Kindness, for comment. His quote is that CeeDee Lamb showed up to party, and that he did because that led Lethal Kindness to a 1 point victory over Crash Davis, the third Josh, and our reigning champion, losing by 1 point. So, like I said, I reached out to my brother for comment on his week 3 victory over the league champ, and he said, "Oh wow, CeeDee Lamb must have showed up to party. I hadn't even checked it. I thought I was gonna lose." Um, relayed said message to Crash Davis for a response, and he just simply said, "CD Lamb can party on this expletive. We'll keep it family friendly." Um, you're welcome, Dad. But yeah, so CD Lamb with 22 points, and every one of those points was necessary for Lethal Kindness to come out with that victory, and it was wild to watch. I was rooting hard for CD. I was rooting hard for Saquon just because I knew those two players, like they were going to really affect the outcome of those matchups. And the CD Lamb came through. Saquon ended up coming up a little short. But hey, we had 3 games this week that were decided by less than 10 points. So I like it. It was a good week of football, good weekend of fantasy football. And sorry, just adjusting here. Got my notes. Switch hands. So, you know, like I said, offensive MVP CeeDee Lamb, defensive MVP Roquan Smith. He is on my team here. Defense is a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Volatile when it comes to points. I like to shoot for my defensive guys to average about 20 to 25 points. So, a lot of people might try to go linebacker heavy. Some guys will go defensive linemen, defensive backs, hoping to cash in on big sack totals or a couple interceptions, a return for a touchdown. I like consistency. I can't talk today. Okay. Like goodness. I just woke up like the last hour, and started getting ready for work. So, but moving on, we got our rookie watch this week. Top 3 offensive rookies really didn't change. It's still the 3 receivers: Drake London, Chris Olave, Devin Lloyd. Only one of which was started in my flex spot. Drake London. He showed up, put up about 14 points. You like to see it. I like to see the rookies showing up early and showing what they can do. Garrett Wilson is still in the taxi squad spot. We'll see how long that lasts. And Chris Olave spent the week on a bench. And he didn't have as great a game as he did the week before, where he had like 40, I think. But he still did his thing. We got a linebacker and a couple defensive backs as our defensive rookies to watch. We got Devin Lloyd, the linebacker from Jacksonville, still in a taxi spot. He's putting up some big tackle numbers, so we'll see how long Pops keeps him in his taxi squad. And then Jalen Petrie jumps up in there into the top 3 defensive players, mainly on the back of a 41-point performance in week 3. But he's a free agent. He's out there. If you want to grab him, you can grab him. And Derek Stingley, they're both in Houston's secondary. So it looks like they've got a pretty good young defense that they're trying to cultivate down there. We'll see how it works out for them. And going to close this out with the early playoff picture. As y'all know, there's a little bit of confusion last year, so I want to make sure that I go over this every few weeks. Who's in the playoff hunt? What it's looking like. We'll remind you it is top 2 from each division, and then the 5 and 6 seeds are best overall, regardless of division. And they'll be in there. Top person from each division gets the bye weeks, and so right now in first and second place getting the bye weeks. We have Melvin and the Thunder Gods, and Eric and his Valhalla Ballas, and then the third and fourth seeds we've got myself, the Jotunheim Frost Giants, and Matt Murphy, the Svartalfheim Dark Elves. So we'll see how this plays out. And the 5 and 6 seeds look like they are also coming from the first division. The top division. It's everybody's like 2-1, I believe, except for whoever's at the bottom there, being 1-2. So we've got Brian Smith and Team Lethal Kindness, and Brian Cartons Draugr Army. So we'll see how this all plays out. And down in the toilet bowl, the front runners for this year's D's Nuts Trophy, we've got Brad and the Guardians of Valhalla. We've got Josh Russell, Team J Russ 110177, and Josh Jansen with Team Crash Davis, and Pops, the Musflim or Muspelheim Fire Giants. So we'll see how that plays out. Really surprised that we've got a first to worst candidate in only our second season. Josh Jansen there, winning the title last year and looking to get his first win. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll see if he can, slay those demons that he has faced so far, those fantasy demons that he has faced so far in fantasy this year. So good luck to everybody. Hope you make the right decisions this week. I want to see, I like to see some closer games, except for the one I'm in. I'd love to blow out everybody that I play and hope everybody else just has to stress over all their games because it's fun to watch. So y'all have a good night. I'll get this posted before I leave for work, and we'll see you next week with next week's recap.